Core is a surprisingly common request on what people want to work on, and a lot of yoga naturally involves the core. We are stabilizing from this area, strengthening, but today we're going to fold in just a little Pilates to take it that much further, and it's going to be awesome because the more you work your core, the better your back is going to feel, and a lot of people suffer from back pain. So we'll get started actually on our backs. And it's up to you how you want to hold this first pose. You might have your knees bent, feet planted. This is going to get more of your back against the mat. It might feel really good for some spines. Other folks might choose to sort of lay out long, Savasana style, roll everything open. What matters most is that you find some good release for your body. And we always want to settle in the beginning, sort of feeling where we naturally connect with our mats, feeling our spine's natural pattern against the mat. Your shoulder blades, the upper part of the spine might be deeply connected. Well, the lower back might have a little bit of arc, especially if your legs are out long. In any class, body familiarity awareness is key. But here we're going to be paying special attention to our core to make sure we are really activating. So as you settle in and just notice, again, where your body touches the mat. And then you can start to shift your focus to the rise and fall of breath. The way the belly inflates on inhale and contracts on exhale. So where are you at? Do you feel good and in tune with body and breath? So bend your knees, plant your feet if you aren't there already. Again, we're noticing that there is still a little micro curve in the back, but a lot of our back is going to be pressed to the mat. We're going to use the breath one more time. So we inhale, fill up. You're trying to inflate the belly. What's happening here is you're pushing down your diaphragm. And then we exhale, and you want to find a natural core contraction, like your belly button is pulling towards your spine, and you might actually feel more of your lower back flatten against the mat as you do that. That's how you know that you're deeply connected in your core muscles. So one more inhale. Get expansive, push down the diaphragm, feel like you're inflating your belly. You're not, just your lungs, but that's the sensation. And then it's an exhale that contracts the core, that turns on those nice deep muscles and actually brings our back to the mat. We're so engaged. And then we'll bring it to neutral. So we're going to take a similar breath pattern, but we're going to change it up. So right now your hips are a bowl of water that are just sitting on the floor. When you inhale, you're tilting that bowl, your hips, your tailbone, towards your mat. So the tailbone is going towards your mat. Your hips, that bowl of water, it's like you're trying to spill it out on your thighs. You're really increasing the arc in your back. And then when you exhale, you are lifting your tailbone off the mat. Now you're trying to pick up that bowl and sploosh the water on your belly. So inhaling, tailbone to the mat, lifting up that basin, exhaling, scooping up the hips, scooping up the tailbone, nice deep curve in the belly. We'll do one more. And that's it. This time, we come to neutral on inhale. We'll draw our knees into our chest, give ourselves a little squeeze, rock things out. We're going to keep it real simple. Take our knees to the right. We're going to warm up our back. So you might open up your shoulders, maybe take a look to the left if it feels safe in your neck. But we're going to prep our spine for some of this core work. Usually when we are contracting our core, like we are doing right now in this simple twist, we are opening up our backs. It's one of the ways that this is a nice pairing, core and back. And then we'll bring our head center and our leg center. We might tuck our knees in, take a little rock out. We'll set the knees over to the left, maybe open up the arms, look to the right. We want our spine to be nice and loosened up. Then we'll take our knees center, our head center, tuck in, rock out. And you're going to stack your knees up over your hips, and now we'll get into some of that fun core work. So this is our reverse table. You might want to take your arms to the sides. We're going to drop our knees to the right, but this time we're only going to come about halfway. Feel your core engage. Back's getting a little stretch. Exhale your knees on up. We always want to be using the exhale on exertion. So we're holding. If we exhale when we come up, we're sort of flexing our core as we lift. Although the lowering and the holding might feel like some exertion. So we're going to do 3 each side. We're going to bring it back to neutral. Moving slow. It's not about the reps. It's about moving with breath and finding the deep core the whole way. So we'll do 1 more each side. Come center. Last one. Off to the left. We'll come center, tuck our knees in, squeeze it out, rock out, sort of rinsing the back. All right, plant your feet about mat distance apart, and we want to take really big windshield wipers, is what we call them, for our knees. Side to side, really opening up our hips. This is giving us a nice deep rotation of our hips. We want those loosened up too, so we aren't tempted to grip in our hips when we're really trying to focus on our core. All right. We'll bring our feet still, bring knees back into chest. We're going to do something that feels quite similar to what we just did. So knees stacked over hips. We're in our tabletop, our reverse table, arms out. We're dropping our knees over to the right, and this time when we exhale, we're kicking our legs out long. Bring it center. Same thing. Off to the left, kick. Exhale as you do it. So you're finding that naturally contracted core. Let's just do 1 more each side. First we tilt, then we extend, we come back. And we bring it in. Knees tuck in. We're going to rock out. This time, we're going to catch the backs of our legs. We're going to rock lengthwise along our spine. We are going to use some momentum to make our way up to seated. So you want to be seated nice and tall, grounded sit bones, lengthened spine, and we're going to come back to our nice big windshield wipers again. I like mat distance, so I can really turn my knees towards the mat. This isn't going to work for every set of knees out there. It's really just about making sure your hips and your back are nice and loose. So we plant our feet about hip distance apart, sit bones firmly grounded. We're catching the backs of our legs, inhaling, lifting our spine. On exhale, on exertion, right? We lower to 45. We're lowering with our nice firmed up core. How does it feel? We got things right where we want it. We're going to lift up our hands. If you do nothing else but hold and try and focus on drawing your belly in with every exhale, good enough for me. You might feel a little something in the hip flexors. This is strengthening them, but that's why we loosened up our hips, no holding. But if you wanted to add a little bar yoga element, as you exhale and contract, you might feel a contraction. Within that contraction, you might lift up. You know, 1/4 of an inch, a centimeter, it's something really tiny. But little inhales. Last one. We'll come back, we'll hold, and we'll take our nice big windshield wipers. So let's plant our feet one more time. This might look really familiar, because it is. We're playing around with the yoga boat pose. Hips grounded, we catch the backs of our legs, we lower on exhale. And this time around, let's actually try and find that yoga navasana. So lifting up legs, how does it feel? If you feel at all compromised in your ability to pull the belly in, drop the legs. I'd be more interested in you finding that nice 45 with a turned on core than I would with the legs up. Arms can just come up. But exploring here, I always tell my students, start small, find the proper form, and the more advanced will come later once you kind of build up those muscles. So last Navasana, we'll drop our feet, we'll rinse things out. And then as a check-in with our hips, right? We want to be firming up our core, but we don't want to be leaving feeling tight. That's why we're mixing yoga with Pilates. We'll come up tall, soles of feet together, knees apart. Our Baddha Konasana. The closer the heels to the body, the more intense this is going to be in the hips. You can always walk them away. We're sitting up nice and tall in the spine and just taking a little hinge forward, and this will open up your lower back as well. Since we haven't done a ton to open up our hips, it's really just a micro hinge forward till you start to feel the stretch. Something you can sit with. When our bodies are nice and cold, we have a better idea of where they're at in the pose. We're inhaling length, exhaling hinge. All right, inhale up tall. Guide your knees together, close your book. I love those windshield wipers if you can't tell. One more set. And then we're going to swing on to hands and knees. If we were in a reverse tabletop in our backs, now this is our true tabletop. Shoulders stacked right over wrists, elbows soft. We're going to take a couple cats and cows. So we're inhaling, lifting, drawing our shoulders back, opening up the front of the body. On exhale, find that strong core contraction. Pulling belly button into spine, arcing like a Halloween cat. Inhaling up. Exhaling to arc. So take one more full set. Trying to see if you can end on exhale to really pull belly button in, to engage the core deeply, get lots of space in the spine. We'll bring it to neutral, give our toes a curl under, find downward facing dog, and just take some pedals. We want to get comfortable in this pose. We want to get comfortable with two things. Three things. Our nice spread out hands, right? We're connected thumb, index, but the middle ring, pinky fingers are plugged in at the fingertips. We want to get comfortable in our calves as we sort of pedal our heels out. And we want to relax our neck. That neck holds up your head all day. It deserves a break. So one of my favorites for the deep core, it kind of gets into the pelvic floor. We hold nice and tight. We drop our knees almost like we're going to come back to tabletop. We hover just off the mat. Bring it back up to downward facing. Pedal out. Don't forget, we exhale on exertion, so that way we are pulling our belly button in on that natural contraction. And last one, knees to the hover. How does it feel? Bring the seat up. Walk the feet to the hands, come into forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, lift. Really look to lengthen out your spine, a great place to re-engage the core. Big hinge into forward fold. We've deserved the break for our backs. You can grab elbows or let your arms hang. Shake out head. I was reading this really amazing article about, I always mess up the pronunciation, so forgive me, diastasis recti, which is the separation of the abs, usually after you've had a baby, but it can happen to anyone. And a big part of it is just turning on, talking to your abs again, feeling them, sensation. So that's why the exhale is so important. You know, the work, getting deeper into the poses, your form sort of comes later. Right now, it's just the feedback between engaging properly, safely, correctly. Drop the hands, roll up nice and slow to stand. Head comes up last. When we get to the top, we'll just give our shoulders a couple rolls. All right. Grounded into your left foot. At the heel, the ball, the toes are your secondary points. Right leg's gonna pick up. You're gonna kind of feel yourself scoop up from your pelvic floor. So it's almost like you're lifting from your base, that perennial area. Big lift, core pulling in, especially on exhale, hands overhead. See if you can extend your foot. Now the hip flexor again. Hips are often engaged here. They do a little bit of work, but seeing if you can't really use your core, let's bend, step the foot back. We land on the ball of our foot, and then we turn the foot right open into this warrior two. Pressing through pinky edge, arms open. Little opening in your hip. Let's take all but a hint of softness out of our knee. We've got our triangle legs. We're bringing right hip back, and we're melting right at our waistline, so we're in our side body. The way our core muscles sort of wrap, side body is just as important as the front. So wide open arms, really trying to make a straight line fingertip to fingertip, so it opens the shoulders as well and reminds us to engage in our core. Left hand comes up, sort of like you're serving a dish. Right hand reaches, now you're holding a big ball. We're gonna inhale, lift it up. Take the right hand down, reach left, and now we're getting space in the side body that just worked so hard. All right, come back to warrior, two arms. So you can tip back into triangle. We're gonna do this for a 3 count. We're gonna hold, now see if you can exhale as you lift that up, engaging the core, and come right back to our reverse triangle. I should say that left knee stays nice and soft. One more. Arms out. Hinging right at our waist. Strong core is holding our upper body here. We reach, we catch our big beach ball, we lift it up overhead with our strong core. We take the well-deserved side body opener. And then we're gonna cartwheel our hands down. Turn our right toes forward, left foot steps back into 3-legged down dog. Exhale, tap knee and nose. Inhale it back. Exhale, tap. We're doing a 3 count here, just finding some nice strong core. And that's it. We'll come back to 3-legged, set our foot down, regular old downward facing. Now you can walk to the top. A fun way to check in with your core is to firm it up, bend into your knees. See if you can't kind of float your way to the top. We'll inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Grab elbows, let arms hang, doesn't matter. Just giving our back a break, shaking out head. Nice open spine. We'll drop our hands. Roll up slow to stand. Head comes up last. Couple of rolls through shoulders. All right. Now we ground strongly into the right foot. Heel, ball, toes, secondary points. I should say knee a little bit soft. We're picking up left. We're scooping up. Again, from that space just in front of the tailbone. Big lift. Core is engaged. Hands overhead. We're seeing if we can't float our foot. Hip flexor, quad are working, but really about core is doing more than 50% of it. we bend, step our left foot back, land on the ball, and that's just so we can open things up, pressing through pinky edge, stacking knee, finding warrior two, removing all but a hint of softness. We shift our hip back, and we're going to use our strong side body to lower us into triangle. Keeping the right knee softly straight, looking up at your fingers, really thinking about sort of drawing your shoulder blades together. Right hand lifts up your serving platter, left hand reaches. Now you got that big beach ball, exhaling it overhead. Left hand down, right reaching. Ooh, big side body stretch. All right. Warrior two arms. So we're moving at the waistline with integrity, nice and slow, strong, opening things up. Grabbing our big beach ball, exhaling it overhead. And right into our reverse triangle. Again, checking in with the knee, making sure it's soft. All right, last one, arms out. We are moving slow at the waistline, letting it take its time engaging. Grabbing on, exhaling it up overhead, so we're coming up with contracted core, nice big reach. All right. Back to warrior two arms. We cartwheel all the way through. Turn left toes forward. Inhale, right toes up. Look at that. Into our three-legged down dog. Exhaling, tapping 3 taps to the nose. We're kind of pulling into high plank at the same time. Last one. Bring it back. Set your foot on the mat. Pedal it out. Make sure that the heels and the calves are in a good place. We'll set our knees down, uncurl our toes. Take a brief child's pose, sitting back on your heels, forehead onto the mat. Even though we're focusing on the front of the core, we want to give our back a little rest. We get a nice little contraction in our core here, or compression, I should say, in our core. Open shoulders. Inhale, come up to table. We're going to swing onto our seat. Extend our legs out long in front and open up into a very wide V. Sit bones grounded, lift it up tall in the spine, and we're just going to hinge on over. So we're creating space in our lower back with our hinge, in the inside of our legs, the groin area. Shoulders are soft, muscles in face are soft. We're just taking a nice big hinge. So in case some of that core work does turn on the hips, we get some release. We want to be challenged, but not left with tension at the end of this. All right, so let's inhale up. One of my new favorites, and you're gonna feel it really low in the core. We're going to try and guide our legs together, open them up. They might be sliding a little bit on your mat, and that's okay. Open and close. You feel that nice strong engagement? All right, last one. We'll hinge down one more time. Inhale, come on up. Hands free, close it up. Bend into the knees. Windshield wiper. Let's try that boat, that Navasana one more time. So really grounded sit bones, feet out in front, long lifted spine, sitting up tall. You might exhale and engage your core. Next, inhale, reach the hands. Exhale, lower like you're coming into boat. 45, pulling belly button into spine. Inhale takes you up, reach his hands overhead. Exhale, lower, strong core. Lowering only as far as you can keep the integrity of your core. Inhale up. Exhale, lower, hold. See if you can't catch the backs of your legs. Come into one more boat, stronger than you know. Hands drop, feet drop. Let's head back to our backs, right where we kick things off. We'll always check in with our hips, so a couple windshield wipers when you land. We'll plant feet. Draw right knee into chest, extend left leg long. Pick up your head, look towards your left toes, switch it out. Extend your right leg long, this time don't set the heel down. Let's do 3 switches of each leg. Nice little heat in the lowest part of the core. We'll hold right leg in, we'll set our foot down. We'll take a nice squeeze. I should say this is really good pose if you're feeling bloated. And then left hand is going to take it across body, right hand will reach. Just a single leg twist to rinse out our lower spines. We'll have a little look off to our right fingers, get the neck involved, if it feels good for your neck. While rinsing out our lower backs, leaving our bodies in a really good place. We'll bring our head center, our leg back across, give it a squeeze. Pick up, look at your left toe, lift your left heel off the mat. Let's switch it out just a few more times. Squeezing knees in, extending heels. All right, the next time you're on left, hold it, set right leg down, give yourself that nice squeeze. Right hand takes leg across body, left reaches. We're rinsing out our lower backs. Maybe having a look to the left if it's safe for our neck. And great place to just sigh it out. With twisting, the more you relax your body, the deeper you go into the poses. And there's a lot of strength and release here. And then we'll bring our head center, our leg back across. We'll give it a little hug. We'll hug right knee into left. We'll sort of massage out our lower back against the mat. Maybe plant the feet. Get one more windshield wiper. We just don't want to be holding or gripping anywhere. Feet plant, let your knees fall together in the center. Here's our constructive rest. It's a great pose to get space in the lower back. Put your right hand on your belly, your left over your heart. You can feel the expansion of the inhales and the contraction of the exhales. All right, knees apart, feet heel toe back to hip distance, couple windshield wipers. You can plant your feet, hang out, and you can give yourself a nice big hug, open up into a yoga savasana, but come back to that first pose you found at the beginning of class. If you want to change it up though, by all means. Just take a few moments to notice, once again, the way your body connects to the mat. If there's been any changes, and the way your spine feels releasing towards the mat. And bring the awareness back to your breath, the rise and fall, the contraction on exhale, the expansion on inhale. Remember, a big part of core work is just getting in tune with those deep muscles, engaging them, being aware of them. And then you might wiggle out fingers and toes, roll wrists, ankles. Take a big stretch. Turn to one side. And use it to pick yourself up. So as always, I will say thank you so much for sharing your time and your practice with me.